Hey there, and welcome to week number 2. My name is Jessica, and I am here just sharing a little bit of the information that I learned by reading a book that a friend let me borrow during my pregnancy. My baby's already 1 year old, and I am just really excited to share this information because it was very interesting and important for me to learn it when I learned it, and I didn't find any videos on YouTube at least that talked about the topic. I mentioned in the last video that I know that there are some apps, and if you don't know, you might as well look into them. I have not looked into them because I learned about that after I delivered so that was not useful. But if you happen to be interested, you can look into an app. Maybe they have information that is interesting to you. Also, the book that I got the information from is gonna be linked down below, so if you want to check it out, you can. The version that I read is the older version, so the book is going to be paperback, and then the newer version from the same book, the newer edition, will be also linked, and it's also available in Audible, so you can listen to it instead of reading it if you want to. It's really lengthy, like the book is really big, and they have lots of information, but if you want to know more about diet, or if you want to know more about other details, especially diet and the ways that it affects for you and your partner, you might read the book because it has tons of information on that topic. But I just highlighted the topics, the ideas that I thought were the most interesting for me as a pregnant mom that was not eating super bad. And I was already pregnant, so if you're already pregnant, you might as well just take care of yourself and continue learning with me. But if you want to learn more about diet and about the ways that it can affect you, then you might want to read that book or some other source of information that can give you more on that. Okay, so now the last thing that I mentioned in the previous video number 1, was how your cycle works, and that's going to extend into week number 2 because that's actually what's happening to your body in what counts as your second week of pregnancy. So here's gonna be my first point, and it's going to be a lengthy one because it's basically what happens during your period. Okay, so like I mentioned last time, you will have 15 to 20 follicles that are going to be developing on both of your ovaries. In the book, it says that it happens about 14 days after you get your period that your egg will come out. So sometime after the time that you finish your period, your ovaries will start to mature. 15 to 20 follicles on each, not on each ovary, but like in both of them, and whichever happens to get ready first in the next 7 days or so will be the one. Whichever is most mature will be able to come out and go on the way to the fallopian tube to see if there's any sperm waiting there. So in the meantime, most people most of us ladies have their period something between 3 days to 7 days of actual bleeding. And after that time, you will probably have some cravings, you will have some pain on your abdomen, and all of this is just your body having all the things that are happening during your period. And there's so many things. The book can probably tell you lots of more details, but basically you have your hormones going all over the place for different reasons. Different hormones do different things, and so they help. Some of them will help mature the egg, some of them will help with other things. You'll have your estrogen levels go up with in your period time, and this will make you look pretty, and you will have this glow on you. Not necessarily the same as when you are pregnant, but it's just that you have extra estrogen. So you have a little bit of extra beauty on your skin. You will show it, and maybe even your hair. And you probably will have cravings. I know that a lot of people have cravings for chocolate, and I myself have cravings for spinach, for example. And I think that the reason is because our body knows that it will either need extra iron, or it already needs extra iron because maybe it's after you had your period. And chocolate happens to have iron as well. So I didn't know this. I didn't read that in this book. I read this somewhere else, that I was looking for sources of iron in food. And turns out that chocolate is one of the ones that has the biggest amount of iron in it. So dark chocolate will be like a good option if you happen to look for your iron in chocolate. So anyway, all of this happens, and then so about 12 days after your period, your estrogen goes up, and a couple of days later, your testosterone will go up as well. And testosterone, what it does is that it helps your body want to get in the mood to have sex. So basically it's perfect timing, because you will have your beauty boost, and then you will have your getting the mood boost. And if you happen to have sex in that time period, then you will probably get pregnant, and your body will be kind of calling for it, which makes sense why many people will have babies. And it just happens when they're not expecting it, because they just, they kind of follow the instinct of just following their body their body urges. So it could be this. Most of the times, most of the pregnancies, at least the book mentioned that most of the pregnancies happen without being planned. So stress levels, of course, they can decrease your ability to get pregnant. So all of these things have a say in the game, right? And when all of the things align in the right place, your everything, then you are probably going to get pregnant. So I don't know, I just thought this was extremely interesting, because our bodies are amazing. They do work in even when we're sleeping, right? And then you're like, oh, why am I tired, or why am I crying? Or some people get all kinds of feelings, and it's because you have all these hormones going all over the place, which makes us go a little extra crazy. I asked my husband if he noticed any changes on me, and he said that he thinks that I do get in the mood right around my period. Either he cannot really say before or after, but he thinks that I really do get in the mood before I'm gonna get my period, or right after I got my period. So I think it's interesting, and how your hormones can influence how you feel and how you behave so much, right? So anyway, you already know this stuff. Let's move on to point number 2, which will be women that have big breakfast, or that happen to eat high calorie foods, especially if they eat, for example, bananas, a lot of bananas. They, for some reason, have just better chances of bearing a boy. And the people, or the moms, that happen to skip breakfast, or not have so they have low calorie intake for some reason, they tend to have easier to get pregnant with a girl. And the reason they say is because the extra calories consumed affect vaginal secretions, and so that gives a boost to the Y sperm, so it just helps the Y sperm survive better. And I thought that was interesting, because when I got pregnant, bananas are they have been my least favorite fruit since I have memory. My husband loves bananas, so we always have bananas in the house because he loves to eat them. And for whatever reason, when I was pregnant, I was eating bananas like a lot. So I don't know if it's true or not, because this is supposed to be before conception. because it helps with your vaginal secretions for you to have a boy. um, I don't know if I ate that many bananas before, but I do know that I do like to eat breakfast. I usually don't skip it, so maybe it's true, but I don't know. If you happen to have a different experience, you can write in the comments what you think, and if you agree, then also let me know, because maybe it's true, and maybe it can help other women who want to still have get pregnant and they're not pregnant yet. They might want to either get breakfast or skip breakfast to get a boy or a girl. But of course, we all don't care as long as the babies are healthy, right? So this will lead me to point number 3, and this will be the last one from this week. Now, point number 3 is also very interesting, because it turns out that we all know that when men have their orgasm, they ejaculate, right? And so that's how we get the sperm. But it happens that if a woman has an orgasm at the same time, or around the same time, like almost at the same time as the man, then what orgasms do that I didn't know is that they kind of contract the uterus. It's kind of like a contraction. And so what happens is that if dad has his ejaculation and then mom has an orgasm, the orgasm will basically make an elevator for the sperm. So it gives a lot better chances for mom to get pregnant, because she brought a lot more sperm higher up in the uterus, which makes it a lot easier for more sperm to reach the egg, which of course makes it more you have just better chances for your egg to be penetrated, because there's just too many options, right? So I thought that was really interesting, because I mean, who would have thought that our bodies were going to be so magical, that even if you were not thinking about it, like really you don't have to think about it. Nobody thinks, how am I gonna make a baby? It just happens, right? But there are so many things that your body is doing to help you without you even knowing that they're happening. And at least I was surprised. Maybe it's just I'm too naive, or maybe I was too ignorant in this topic, but I was really amazed at how much our bodies help to keep the human race alive. So anyway, I hope you like this video. There's a lot more on the book if you happen to like it and you want to read it. Again, the links are down below, and I have nothing linked to anything. It's just for you to be able to reach information if you want it. And like I said, the book talks a lot more in depth about food, and I really thought it was interesting, because this is one sad fact that I didn't necessarily want to mention, but I will, because it turns out that even when dads don't have a good diet, their DNA can have, if a mom or dad, but even if it's just dad, happens to have lots of junk food, then he will have some distortion in his DNA, and he will pass it on to the children. So the children will have to suffer obesity, even if they eat healthy or try to stay healthy. And I unfortunately know a couple of people who happen to have really hard time with their not even with their diet, but with their weight. And it's just a big problem that was not even meant to be theirs, because it was really caused by either mom or dad or both. But at least I remember reading on the book that it was mostly from dads, that dad could pass this on to the kids. So just take care of yourself, eat as healthy as you can. It really pays off. What we put in our bodies are like our temple, our home, we live in our bodies, right? And so whatever we put in them, that's what's going to come out. And I learned this until recently because my husband loves to eat healthy, and so I try to cook extra healthy now, and I don't eat as much junk food as I used to before. And I reduced salt ever since I got pregnant because I just didn't care for it so much. And even sugar, like processed sugars, they just made me feel like anxious. So I stopped eating processed sugars actually since before I got pregnant, I think. But when I got pregnant, it really made me feel sick, so I just didn't eat them anymore. And it makes such a big difference in your quality of life and in the way you feel. Now I eat, for example, a fruit, and it will give me so much more energy than if for example, I eat something sweet, I don't know, even cereal that is super processed sugar and this, and it will just not make me feel as good and with as much energy as when I eat healthy things. So anyway, this is just a recommendation. I don't want to offend anyone, but it really makes a difference. So it gives, give it a shot, and even if it's slowly, to make a process of decrease your sugars and decrease your extra salts and sodium and all these things, like it really helps. And if you want to know more, again, really check the book out. It's really great. So anyway, I just hope that you have a great day and that you join me for the next video. Subscribe, like, comment, and this will obviously help the video get a little bit more views and hopefully help more people. And just enjoy your pregnancy, stay healthy, and see you next time. Bye.